Making his way to the cage tonight in our 9th fight of the night here at Cage Aggression 10 Redemption, John Haterproof Kennedy, representing Marty's Martial Arts with a pro record of 4-14 from Rock Island, Illinois.
Love the nickname, first off. Second off, we had a chance to talk to John on kickandmakeup.com interview series, which was awesome. Tons of interviews, just as somebody that you really enjoy, talking to, hearing what they think about the sport, and his opponent tonight is somebody that he's fought several times, hasn't been able to beat him. So, if they say we're always supposed to be impartial, but I'm really pulling for him to have a good showing tonight, whether it's win or lose, just to have a good showing.
He's one of those guys also that fights anywhere, anytime, and he really improves each time. And I think that, he got a lot of critics early on for fighting anywhere, everywhere. So he's really tried to polish off his work and come out strong in the last few fights. But he's one of those guys, trains all the time, just lives and breathes MMA, and it's very apparent in his fighting style. He's very aggressive, so this one's got all the ingredients to be a great fight, on paper.
And you ask a lot of people who their inspirations are in the sport, and John, said that his inspiration was his opponent tonight, Randy Meade, because he showed them that you can never give up.
Making his way to the cage tonight, Randy the Reaping Menace Meade, making his pro debut here at Cage Aggression 10, representing Militich Fighting System. Man, the Reaping Menace Meade, man. It just kind of rolls off your tongue, huh?
Oh yeah, man. You expect somebody with that sort of nickname to come in and be ultra aggressive. One of the things that Randy said when we had a chance to talk to him was, he gave so much credit to his gym and his gym for, getting him ready to fight somebody. And, if in a fight like this, you have somebody who you beat several times, it has to be hard to keep that mental edge up. But the guys over at Militich did not allow him to lack or, to slack off at all for any second. So he's at top physical condition and ready to notch another win in his belt.
Right, we got a chance to interview him as well from Kick and Makeup interview series, and he was so confident. He talked about, the only difference for this also being, a few extra minutes to each round. And he said, I've fought some 40 sometimes, man. It's like, you've been in there, you've done it. They fought each other before, so, they both know what each other's bring, and this is, got, like I said, all the ingredients to be a great fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds in our professional welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. He stands 6 feet 3 inches tall and weighed in at 172 pounds. He trains with Marty's Martial Arts and is sponsored by Steve's Barbershop, Extreme Cage Rentals, and Cage Aggression. Joining us from Rock Island, Illinois, John Haterproof Kennedy! And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighed in at 175 pounds. He trains with Militich Fighting System and is sponsored by Cage Aggression and Justin's Cuts. Joining us from Davenport, Iowa, making his professional debut, Randy the Reaping Menace Meade.
Here we go with our 9th fight of the night here at Cage Aggression 10 Redemption. John Kennedy versus Randy Meade. Randy Meade in the white Jocko shorts. John Kennedy in the white shorts with red splashing. Long limbs already being used by Kennedy.
some definite heavy shots there by Meade too.
Yeah, he's
so
already Meade's, using great angles, and Kennedy is just kind of staying put, which is showing just taking shots, man. He's not using a lot of angles yet. May want to start right now as he's eating a few shots more than he probably wants to. Really,
yeah, Meade,
big takedown for Meade.
Meade landed 3 successive, shots to the face.
Yeah, Kennedy just took him too, man.
So walk through.
Right.
And obviously, once you get to this point, both of these guys know each other's strengths and weaknesses really well. So it's sort of going to be a heart and determination sort of thing, I think.
Yeah, both fighters stay very active throughout the year. They don't take a whole lot of downtime, so they're always, gym rats training in all the time, which is also a benefit for both of them. And like you said, they fought before. They know what each other brings. So.
And it's got to be a little different, though. I mean, if I was going to try to find any sort of difference, there has to be a little bit of a difference with Meade, coming this time with it being his pro debut. You don't want to come out for your debut and end up taking a loss.
Right. Yeah, it's got to be a little interesting. I mean, 18. Kennedy's at 18 pro fights, and so as opposed to 0 pro fights. But I mean, if you're just looking at numbers, Meade's fought more than Kennedy, and there's that upkick that I like a lot. Just something to throw out there. You might as well with those long limbs that he's got. Use those to your advantage. Fighting a smaller guy. He's going to be kicking longer. He's going to be, utilize that even in the punches.
Right, and Meade,
fight long.
Meade smartly sort of grabbing at the foot and, holding that away before he goes in for those sort of diving strikes.
And you don't think about this, but you got to close the distance on the ground too. And how do you do that? Like you said, you hold the ankle and you dive in. That leaves, no room to do anything.
Kennedy not staying really docile on the bottom. He's still continuing to throw some shots from time to time, and they're landing too.
And that's the long limbs of Kennedy could be an advantage to Meade, because if he leaves something out there, you've got a long limb to grasp onto. But I think with the experience of both fighters, they're not going to have those little mistakes in this fight too. Kennedy looking to use that leg to maybe pull it up and over and trap the leg down a little bit. If you're that flexible, that's an advantage that limbs have as well. Meade just staying real tight on him, isolating the neck and really trying to just kind of grind out, points for the first round. Kennedy too, moving side to side, elbows, trapping, pulling down Meade down and not giving him a lot of room. So working pretty well off his back, swiveling one side of the neck, looking for an arm, but always keeping his neck real tight to him.
Really like Kennedy's use of those sort of short elbows, and right across the forehead and the face of Meade, trying to open up a cut.
It's a natural body movement too when you're pushing somebody away. If you just continue on, your elbow kind of goes right through. So that's the mechanics of the body, the muscle memory, and things like that. And Kennedy's definitely got that going. Even getting those hook shots right there, it made Randy turn his head away from it, which throws you off your game. And those ear shots hurt. When getting hit in the ear hurts. And there he is, using his long limbs again. Meade just really unloading, giving that little bit of space right there.
Right, and one of the smart things that Meade is doing is, he's not earlier on in the fight that he sort of came with those shots from, directly at Kennedy's feet, but now he's sort of trying to pivot and be on the side so that he can, land those shots, because his arms aren't quite as long as Kennedy's. So he's going to have to make sure that he uses, better positioning, and he's able to get those shots in.
Right. Meade does a good job of staying heavy towards the end of this round. Kennedy, you can see, still trying to kind of buck up, but the way Meade was right there, real high on his chest, tough to buck somebody off that high, and Meade was there for a reason. So we didn't see a whole lot of errors, that first round from either fighter.
No, and it just goes to show you, both of these guys and their experience. They know exactly what their opponent's strengths and weaknesses are, so they're going to try their best not to leave those things open so that their opponent can take advantage of it.
Right, and it's the few seconds that we saw, either fighter use to their advantage. Kennedy kept him pretty tight onto him, but the time that he did let him up a little bit and give Meade some space, Meade, dropped 3-4 big blows from the top. And so, going in the second round, I think that I would like to see, Kennedy use those limbs again and fight long and kind of stay out of the range of Meade so he doesn't get taken down. Ooh.
Respect, then no respect.
Yeah, gets a little smile from Kennedy. Maybe he starts some fire in him a little bit. Big knee right there.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
It counts. There we go. It definitely. Look at that. Now you get some aggression from Kennedy.
Yeah, you kind of riled him up a little bit with that.
That's where, and hops around him too, and was taken down for it. But that's where I'm not a big fan of touching gloves every round. Not that I've had many opportunities to have that choice, but first round, touch gloves. After that, we're good. Like we already said, good fight to each other. You see right there, it was a mutual respect, but then it's one of those things, man. He ate a shot because of it, and on his back. Not saying that was why, but
yeah, but you have to be prepared at all times, and that's one thing that watching fighting, whether it's boxing, any sport, you have to be prepared. Protect yourself at all times. That's what everyone says. So you have to be ready, and you can't fault Meade for taking advantage of a slight lapse in concentration by Kennedy.
Now Meade really using those short elbows, stacking up Kennedy a little bit. Kennedy trying to maybe find the arm bar right there, and there's that getting on your side a little bit, and Meade can blast up if he can get up and over the legs of Kennedy and go in the full mount. But Kennedy doing a good job of keeping that knee right there. Knows that's probably what's coming, but
and also keeping his legs together too, because it's really easy for Meade to sort of jump up, and if he misses getting the full mount, he can slide that leg between Kennedy's legs and take advantage of him that way as well.
Right there, he tries to go over it, and Kennedy is having none of it, and forces him to stay right there, and that's where the arm bars and triangles come in, with Kennedy trying to trap an arm right there. And, I know he sees it coming, and there Meade does a good job of fighting that. But whenever you've got arms out like Meade does, you're open for arm bars and triangles, especially with a long-leading fighter like John Kennedy. There's those little elbows, shots to the head.
Little elbows, sort of a hammer fist. All those things count, and all those things register as the fight goes along.
And Randy just needs a little bit of space to, drop some of those big shots. There we go. That's like I said, he just wants a little bit of space to break free, and when he does, he lands 2 or 3 big shots. So really good job from both fighters of utilizing what the other fighter is giving him.
And coming in with the being a smaller fighter, you really have to be smart enough to use those angles and stuff, because you're not going to be able to get in really close to someone straight away. You're going to have to come in from the side, sort of choose weird or different angles in order to take advantage of your punching power or your kicking power.
And he's staying. Kennedy's staying so active on the ground too, even when he's in a non-dominant position. He's just peppering the head with the elbows, like you said. And there's Meade, goes to north-south, and really that's like a smothering position if anybody's been in it. And he's trying to lock up the choke right there, and Kennedy knows it. That's so close to, as above a choke, and I don't think people understand so close to tapping right
Yeah,
there.
really close to tapping.
And unless you've been in that position, you can't really understand how tight it is from that position, just because you don't know how much torque.
Right.
And you got your chest, compressing against cranking on your neck, and we almost saw him tap right there.
Yeah, it's really amazing to see that. See somebody that close to saying, I quit, but I wonder what exactly happened so that he didn't do that.
You're over the panic. You almost you tap out because you think you're gonna go out, but then you're like, wait, if I'm not out, because I'm still consciously aware of tapping out, which means you're still good to go. And because of it, we still get to see this great fight. There's Meade, real heavy on him again. Maybe looking for the arm triangle on the wrong side of the arm triangle.
Yeah, Kennedy smartly, trying to buck Meade off of him, trying to get onto that side in order to, might end up giving up his back, but he might feel like he's able to do a little bit more if he's able to get on that side as opposed to having Meade weighed down on top of him.
This fight's showing me all the hard work right now being done by Milicic Camp and by Marty's Martial Arts, especially in their ground area. Both fighters have been able to defend submissions beautifully tonight, and you don't do that without repetition, and being in those positions. So I know that both camps are working extremely hard to show them that. And it's one thing to teach somebody an armbar; anybody can do that, but to learn how to get out of it is a little bit more beneficial, I think.
And it's great seeing Kennedy being so comfortable on the ground and being on the bottom while on the ground, which is something that a lot of people view as being a disadvantage. But if you're skilled and you have talent, you know how to handle it being on the ground like that. And you're able to still be offensive even from the bottom.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I love this sport so much, is because boxing is great. It's stand up, and I love boxing. I love kickboxing and stuff. But when you hit the ground, for some people, that's when the fight really starts. And I think tonight we're seeing more ground than we have seen stand up, and it's been a very entertaining fight. So here we go in the third round. You see a little bit of cardio being tested for Kennedy.
Definitely. And those longer rounds come into play too.
He wants some respect again. Better get out of the way. There we go.
A little more cautious that go around. Can't blame him at all though.
And there's Kennedy going, just kind of goes in, barreling through.
Right. If you're Kennedy right now, I would really think that you'd want to, sort of stretch things out a little bit, just like that.
And there's Kennedy, just real heavy, man, just not afraid to just run right at you and grab you.
Right.
And Meade doing a good job of staying low and changing levels. And that's what you got to do against a taller fighter, is really change the levels.
And Kennedy's also totally not afraid of Meade's power, it seems. Like he's faced it, he's tasted it, and he realizes that he can withstand it.
He just ties him up, not afraid to tie him up, takes his back, looking to get a hook in. Just goes down, great job, but then reversal by Meade. There's John again with the elbows and really trying to make the most of being on the bottom.
Meade trying to jump into side control as much as possible, but you still have Kennedy sort of trying to stay on his side so that doesn't happen.
He's done a great job of staying on one hip. That's one of the main things that I look for when I'm watching a fight, is if I find that fighter flat on his back, I know that he hasn't trained as hard as he
right,
should.
and it's something that's basic, but there's so many fighters who aren't very good at it.
Right. And I get it too. I mean, if you got somebody heavy, Randy Meade on top of you too, your first thing is probably just to lay on your back and catch a breath, but it's the worst thing you could do at that point. There's Randy looking for that shot again.
But they aren't landing because he's not coming from the right angle.
Big ol' scissor kicks from Kennedy, coming up. Kennedy fired up, really wanted to finish this fight strong. Looking to land that one big shot that kind of stumbles Meade. Meade just really digging deep and
big shot by Kennedy.
There's
right
a big
there.
one. That's the one he was looking for.
Really nice knees right there.
Knees, these are huge knees coming from Kennedy. Got a great tie plum. Man,
this is all those losses, you know, that are building up right here, and saying that I'm not going to lose this time.
5 knees in a row.
Right.
One of them I know stunned Meade because his knee buckled a little bit. And then big
takedown by Meade.
Man, dumped him. And Kennedy taps.
Wow. Yeah, not exactly sure what happened there with the tap.
Man, well, I mean, that's what we were talking about before in those takedowns. If you land wrong, you can hurt yourself.
Yeah, and it could be anything. And we
Kennedy
know that
did have a bad injury before a few years back. I remember him being caught in a Kimura, and I think his shoulder broke or close to being broke. And so maybe that was a reoccurring injury that he landed on that again and felt it, and there's no point to keep going.
No, definitely.
Pop or hear something. So, but God, man, he was so close to winning that fight before.
At 2 minutes, 51 seconds into round 3, declaring your winner by verbal submission, Randy the Reaping Menace Meade improves his record to 1-0 in his pro debut.